Hello and welcome to my latest Andertons music video. It's not a music video because I don't think we'll be doing much music. We're not going to be talking about the sounds today. We're talking about an exciting new product from AKAI, and I just realised I haven't even addressed the fact we've got Andy Mack in the room.
How you doing?
Pleasure. I've actually given Andy a shout out before on another video, Talkbox one. I do implore you to go check him out. Yeah, anyway. We could talk all day about it. We've got the Advance range of MIDI controllers coming from AKAI. This is an Advance 49. Could you tell me about it? What is it? Yeah. Before we go, I genuinely have no idea, really. I saw this come out at Namm, and the reason why I'm not in my blue and I look maybe a bit bleary is that I'd just come back from a gig, and unfortunately you were very patient and waited for me. It was in Amsterdam, so if, you know, I'm a bit hazy. I'm just a bit hazy. What does it do?
So basically, the advanced controller keyboard range basically gives you the ability to control all of your VSTIs directly from the computer. So up until now, any controller keyboard that you have on the market is kind of limited in its performance, that you're still bound to the laptop to access all your sounds. So one of the things that we notice is that more people really want more control over what they're doing directly from the keyboard, so you have a faster workflow. So what the controller has is basically, we have a high-res coloured screen, have full RGB pads, we have 8 macros so you can control all the parameters with the VSTs. But it's the communication that we have with our software. So we have an application called VIP, which is what handles all of the VSTIs. So when you install it, it goes and searches your content and it says, okay, this is what I have. Right. It pulls it into the content library, and it also brings in all of the preset patches that are available from all of your VST instruments.
Right.
And then these are then communicated directly to the screen, so you have visuals of everything that you have available.
And can I just say, I've just had 1 week because I didn't really want to look at it too much.
Yeah.
Because it was exciting and I wanted to get like the first reaction of it. The screen is bloody gorgeous.
Oh yeah, and it's one of those products that if you want to own one of these yourself, you know it's incredible, and you know everyone who we've shown this to, they want to own one because they can see.
I can totally testify to having done. I did a lot of gigs, traveling, even my wedding gigs. You know, I tried it with the laptop, and that was the bane of it the whole time. Was that if I wanted any control really over moving through presets and managing my presets, which is what we do, keyboard players, it's what we do, it's what people do in the studio, then it was all, I always ended up sacking it off and using my hand to go through the laptop itself, which is just not cool.
And so what the screen's going to tell me, is going to tell me every plugin I have, every sound that I basically want to access for my session. If I'm a live keyboard player, again, it gives me the speed and integration to manage all of my sound content. So at the moment, what the screen's telling me is we have Massive instantiated, okay, and the sound is called Shadows, so we can play that. Now I can literally just go through all the different presets.
I love the little thumbnail.
Yeah.
I love the thumbnail.
So you can hit it and it's instant.
Wowzers.
So, you know, there's loads and loads of sounds inside Massive.
Insania. Insania Bombania.
Completely.
Let's count that.
So if we want to narrow our search down, we can go to our browser and we can move to instruments. So we can now go, okay, let me find the basses. So now I can access all the basses.
You've got 334 basses. Okay, so you go down to that browser level.
Yeah.
And what were some of the things we could choose from on there?
I'll show you. So we'll go back to
instruments.
And
then I saw like timbre. So that's cool if you're producing, because you might not even know you want a bass. You just know it. You want it to be like badass.
That's right.
Maybe not. That's maybe not a timbre, but
pads.
Glassy. Glassy
pad sounds. So, and this is just in Massive.
but even then, because I know some guys, we were just saying before, some really talented guys who are using Massive. I know it's out there, a lot of guys have got it. Maybe they're one synth that they're working on, but already you're plumbing the depths of that pretty quickly.
Yeah. So I'm just accessing these sounds super fast.
Yeah.
Now, if I want to come out of Massive, but still search for pads, I've still got my subcategory selected in instruments, which is pads. So I can go to plugins and I can come out of Massive and we'll go to FM8. I'm now inside FM8 and I can now search for all the pads that are inside FM8. And what you'll see on VIP, that changes instantly. Okay, so we're still inside FM8, so we'll go to our controls now, and we have our 8 macros across 4 banks. So all the parameters that are available inside FM8 have already been mapped for you. So we can now go into filters, effects, anything that we want to do to basically control that.
So macro, big. Yeah, macro, we're thinking big. So these are like the top levels of nice chords.
Yeah.
Great chords. This is like top level editing. All the things that you'd want to get hold of are already mapped.
Yeah, and then you can remap everything yourself as well.
Cool.
So in VIP, you hit the learn feature, and you can basically.
Can I turn them on?
Or, yeah.
Oh. Sorry.
Ooh. Yeah. Nice.
That's
increments.
lovely, and I mean, I tell you what, that's smooth. Sorry.
Very smooth.
Love a bit of knob twiddling.
So let's come out of FM8. We'll go over to Absinthe, and we're still searching for pads.
Yeah.
So now you see Absinthe comes up.
Cool. And we're seeing a common. What's nice is, I love these numbers by the side.
Yeah.
I don't know if you. This is coming up. So you're seeing the pads, Absinthe. You're seeing you've got 487 pads in there.
Yeah.
It's alluding to the fact that we've all got bucket loads of presets, and the trouble is getting to the right one.
But then we can also look for different styles. So we can then condense the search down even further. So we have articulations as well. So if you're looking for strings, you could go into string patches and go down to legato, picked.
Good for
vibrato.
My dad would love that.
Oh,
He'd
yeah.
love doing a bit of classical arrangement.
Yeah.
He'd love it.
So
Shout out to my dad.
jumping so jumping through all these different plugs, like I said, you know, we can jump in and out of anything that we want. We can go to say we'll go to hybrid now, and again I'm straight inside hybrid. You'll see the UI change on there, and then instantly
Chug pad.
we're ready to play. Now, one of the main plugins I'd say people use a lot is obviously the contact library.
Yeah.
So, you know, how we can control contact is very, very clever. So if I come out of my categories, so at the moment I'm in instruments and I'm searching for pads, so I can come out of that and I'll go to plugins, and then inside my contact library I have like 4,500 presets. Okay, so I can basically scroll through them manually if I want, but I'm not going to do that. So we'll go to the top and we'll turn left to our artist and expansion. So now I've got all the individual instruments that I have in my library. So if I hit Alicia Keys and we go to piano, now her piano will load directly inside VIP.
Her dry piano.
Which you'll see there, and it loads instantly. So
maybe I digress. VIP, which is running this, because that load time is great.
Yeah.
On some, like years ago when I used to have one of the first Muse receptors, and it kind of cached everything into a memory.
Yeah.
VIP, how did you know anything about it? Does that do that?
It does the same way. So basically, once it knows the location of the sample, it will load it instantly.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you have this at your studio and you have your hard drives connected, it's always going to know where the location is. So the first time you load the sound, it will probably take about 30 seconds if it's a large 5 gigabyte piano like that. Which, to be honest with you, when you load it up for the first time, it does that anyway in Contact.
Yeah.
So it's the same principle. Whatever the load
and then
time
once it's figured out where it's
you can
at,
see how instant that was.
that is great.
And we can jump from that piano to E instruments to their concert grand, and again you'll see the same thing. It will load up instantly.
Yeah.
And again,
fantastic.
That's a 5 gig piano that's just loaded.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, You've only even on the on a Kronos, you've
Yeah.
got like a choice of 2 multi-gigabyte pianos, 2 or
Yeah.
3,
Yeah.
and there's still load times involved in that. The thing takes 2.5 minutes to turn on.
Yeah, yeah.
Great keyboard though.
So, moving through the contact library is again is seamless. We can look at all the instruments that I have in my personal library here. We can go to say Spitfire Audio, whose cell library, contact library. We can load up their strings, and again we have these instantly to play here. So
Yeah. I love how hip hop you hit that button. And
really,
yeah, I would have gone on that and you went bang. Plunger. That's beautiful.
So we can go from there. You can bring up a cello. So it's just loading everything instantly, and as you can see, we're not even
You haven't
looking
even
at
looked
the
at it.
computer at all.
I made a point of that. I said to Andy that I'm going to stick him over here so
Yeah.
can't touch the computer, and he's really showing off.
So let's go back to the instruments. We'll load up the grand. Now, obviously, in Contact, there's also parameters that are mapped to each of the expansions, and this has all been done as well. So we physically mapped every single VSTi that's out there and mapped them to the controls with all the standard parameters that you would expect. But again, if you want to remap all these parameters, you can do so directly in VIP, and then you can just save them to the. You can either
But
save.
just think of the poor guy that did that.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do it. He saved you.
What's great, you can remap the parameters of the plugin or just a preset. So if there's a certain preset where you want to have your own
cool.
maps, you can
So
do
it's
that.
within that level.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely.
So, so this piano, which is a Steinway, okay, we can go to a control now, and one thing that some of the Contact instruments have is this Animator, which is kind of like an intelligent arpeggiator. So we can turn that on,
Cool.
and then we can reverse the piano. We
This
can
is
go into
literally blowing my mind.
go to reverb. Go back to 1.
I love this.
So you can see the kind of control that we have. I can turn the
I love it because I'm always gigging. Any creativity I had kind of went about 10 years ago. So I'm always gigging, and that really appeals to me. Let alone if I know that studio guys are going to go crazy, but you could genuinely just take your laptop on this, and it works like a workstation keyboard.
Yeah. So let's talk about gigging for a second. If you're a live keyboard player,
Yeah,
okay.
please.
So one of the things that we can do, which is quite amazing, and because one thing I'd say, live keyboard players have never been in a position to use this kind of technology, right? There's always been this barrier between taking a laptop out live
And a lot of
'cause you can't control
preparation.
it. Yeah.
So if you were going to do it, you'd have to do all your MIDI mapping.
Yeah.
You're kind of limited. Even set lists were a
Yeah.
bugger to change around.
So let's just say, for instance, I'm in a live scenario. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this. Let's go back
Dream
to
band?
the-
What dream band? Would it be in Zap?
I don't know actually. I'd have to think
Or
about that one.
Yeah, we'll come back at the end.
Dream band.
Yeah. Come on.
So we'll load up the Alicia keys.
Yeah.
Dry piano. Okay, right. So now what I can do now, and this is running standalone. Okay, so VIP runs standalone, but it also runs as an AU, a VST, RTAS, or an AX. Right. So everything we're doing here, you can do directly
your
inside
DAW.
your DAW as well. Yeah. Right. So I go to multi-mode, and there you'll see all the pads go RGB, okay?
Yeah.
So I've got a piano here. Now, if I go to my browser and I move to slot 2, I can now come out of Alicia Keys, go down to Spitfire Audio, and go smooth strings. And now, in multi-mode, I've got this.
Jeez Louise. That is great. And honestly, no pre-fiddling. I didn't even know it did this.
Tell me a sound to add to this.
Oh, I can't even do it. I'm too excited.
Okay.
Just give me one. Let's put a rose behind it.
Okay, so let's go to slot
Let's make
3.
it LA piano.
Right, slot 3, come out of here, we'll go down to come out of contact. We'll go down to expand, and I will then subcategorize and go to say pianos.
Yes, you will.
I've now got Rhodes electric piano, or maybe a FM.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
make
let's
it
try an
Michael
FM.
McDonald. Yeah.
FM Electro Grand. Go back to my multi.
Ah. Not that he sang that,
So I can access any sound from my VST library, and now what I'm doing, I'm layering
but color
sounds.
coded, quick as you like.
So let's come out of pianos and then go to pads. I can now put a. Let's put a.
This is so
a
exciting. Tim, are you excited?
Sweet pad.
Quite impressive.
Can you
isn't
throw me a 10 facet, Tim?
it? What's your favourite?
Green and white key. Green and white key. It's also got the
Very
secret. Got the key to another one.
So now you've got. We've now got 4 VSTIs running. You've got a sweet.
4 max. Is it 4 max? Or can we go above 4?
8.
8. So 8 part synth.
Yeah. And
It's like a motif, but with multi-gigabyte sounds on every
Yeah.
layer.
now we can do this inside our DAW as well. So if I've got VIP
And then you could
instantiated on
add
one
enough RAM.
track, I can run 8 VSTs per track.
Per track.
So for layering, it's incredible. So
But I love how visual and tactile it is. You haven't touched the computer.
no. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clear these slots real quick, and we'll go back to the piano and the strings. So I'm going to go back to browser, slot 3, and then we'll pull up a. Let's go back to plugins. Go back down to contact.
Can I just say, I'm wearing. Sorry, whilst you do that, I'm wearing a hat today, and that's not in response to very mean YouTube comments. I do. I think I like my favourite YouTube comment was that my hair looked like a certain chap's grandmother's, and I must say I can only agree. It's on the way out, but if I took this off now, I mean, crikey, it would be a disaster.
It'll go wrong.
You wouldn't even watch this video. You'd be like, ooh, it's like Gollum. Anyway, where are we at now?
So we've just added a cello, okay, and then slot 4, we're going to come out of here and we will put some percussion onto that. So what we have now, we can mute the pads down here, and then on this slot we have.
Hans Zimmer. We've got the keys
Yeah.
to my limo.
You got it? So I can do so many cool things with layering, but then I can save these multi-layered sounds as presets,
Yeah.
and then I can put them into my library. So I can basically
Is that
call
in
these up
VIP?
live.
So you've got
Yeah.
like a VIP library.
Multi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you'll see here, if we move over to,
I didn't even know you were doing this.
there we go. So we'll come out of here. Well, actually, too, I'll just access this from the keyboard. We'll come out
Sure.
of here, go to
So-
plugin,
It's no biggie.
multi-mode, and there you have. That's the multi
Love the
That we-
colours as well.
that we've just
Do
created.
you know what I mean? The green, that's what I want it to be. Highlight of
Yeah.
him.
And then the next section is quite amazing now. What we need to do is use the computer for this section. So we're just going to swap seats. Again, we're talking about live keyboard players, going out, you're doing a gig,
Yeah.
or if you're a producer in a session. So I create my set list. So live performance, okay, set list, and studio session.
Yeah.
So we've now got 2 different categories here, right? I can just make as many as I want. I can, right?
Yeah.
But for this one, for the live
Fat beat.
for the live
fat.
performance, I'm going to be going to contact, and I'm maybe for my gig that I'm doing, I'm going to be using some strings and stuff. Okay, so I go to my set list, and I basically pull these across. Okay, so these are the sounds that I might be using. Okay.
Dan Bingham. I've got a friend called Dan Bingham.
Yeah.
Flam Bingham. He would love this. All we talk about is set lists,
Right.
ordering them, how annoying it is to do on keyboards.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so again, I might want some lead sounds, so I go to my set list. and these are the lead sounds that I'm just dragging. So you kind of get the idea here of what I'm doing.
That's great.
Okay. Now for a studio session,
Whole different setup.
okay, yeah, I might come out of these leads and it might be pad sounds that I'm using, which are inside FM8.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, as long as I know the sounds that I need for this session, I can just drag them into here.
That's awesome.
Right, okay, now, if you're in the keyboard, let's pull these across here. Okay, so from the keyboard,
Yeah.
go into, if you see on the top here now,
Yeah.
we have studio session, so that's my set list.
That's your set list.
And here's my
Oh, so you're
other one.
changing set lists.
Yeah, so I can go from here now, so this is now going to load up
What?
my cello. Okay, so I can go down my set list and
Yeah.
just bring in the sounds in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here we go. And now if I'm on another set list, I can just move it. So here's studio set list here.
Oh
Over
my
there.
god.
And they're the sounds that we pulled in. FM8.
That's great.
Yeah. So you can see the kind of power.
I'm really not being sorry, man. I'm not being disingenuous. Like genuinely, I wouldn't lie to you. I wouldn't be Charles and Eddie. I wouldn't lie to you. It's great. It's great, man. I've had products, lots of MIDI controllers, M Audio, Novation. I'm going to say it. They're great and they're really cool, you know. And they've had their time, and I really tried to make them work for me live and help me out. But this is the first thing I've seen that genuinely I can get in on straight away. All the parameters, because there's other ones that have mapped parameters and things, but the accessing the sounds itself, that's the first thing I've ever seen where, and even the colour screen gives you that feeling.
Yeah.
You know, even if you've just got numbers, you're not encouraged to play on that. You want to go to the colour screen. We've all got colour screens in our pocket, man.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want to be operating a calculator.
Yeah.
For making music.
There's a time and place.
I'm getting passionate, man.
There's a time and place when you're in the studio environment where certain types of technology really comes into its own. Now, when you're using controller keyboards, you really are still confined to the mouse, staring at the screen, and even the way that you have to access your sounds by drop-down menus.
Yeah.
And that really becomes really tedious because everybody...
One plug-in at a time.
Yeah,
Here,
that's
you're
right.
just going over everything you got, the whole shebang.
Yeah, everything. And like I said, this has, for me, has changed my whole views of controller keyboards, because once you've used this controller from Advance and AKAI, it completely changes your concept of studio and live environment. So as you can see, if you're a live keyboard player, you can basically prep all of your set lists from VSTs before you go to the gig. And one of the things that became very apparent when we were speaking to artists about this product was so many records that are made nowadays, people were using these exact VSTi instruments because the libraries are so big, they offer so much more than workstations.
I have to sample them sometimes and put them in. I use a lot of the Nords, and I chop them up, but I don't have any multi-velocity layers in the Nords, so I'd love to just take that out.
Yeah, so now you can take all these great plugins that are available on the market with these huge libraries and physically control them.
And not have to buy any other computer hardware, because I said about this thing called a Muse Receptor. If you checked it out, I mean, that's essentially a rack-mounted PC stripped down with a stripped-down OS. For that, you know, which is a lot of dough. But you've already bought. I was like, I've already bought a MacBook. I don't want to buy another one to do it. I just want to plug in a controller and play it. And you could do this, but nowhere near this.
No. So so all the great things I've showed you today, we can. It's still a standard dedicated MIDI controller keyboard.
Yeah, there's no faff on it. Like just to have a look at it. I'm just. Honest opinion, I'll pretend that Andy's not there. No, it's really, like, before you turned it on, it's an AKAI MIDI controller, It's nice. It's nice. I love the MPK range. MPK really always used to recommend it because I thought it was really sturdy. Yeah. Especially the big 88 one. When you turned on that screen, I was like, bang. Yeah. And then the pads are fantastic with the colours as well. and there's just not a lot on here. Sometimes, you know, I get scared by keyboards that have those, you know, the tiny writing on, a bit like DX7 days.
Yeah.
And there's still some of those about where they have like little sub menus and shift presses like crazy, but you've done all of that without going too deep, really.
Yeah, you know, it's a very, very simple product to operate.
Mm-hmm.
The way that the controls are laid out, you know, are very intuitive.
Yeah.
And the integration is seamless. So, you know, it really does change the concept of controller keyboards.
I agree.
Completely.
Sorry to keep jumping in, I'm just a bit excited. Carry on, mate. Sorry.
No, you're completely right. But again, it's not just a standard controller keyboard. It really does enhance your workflow massively in a big way.
It really doesn't look crap either.
Mm.
Like, honestly, there's no faff. Sometimes companies go, yeah, we've done something new and we're just going to put loads of stuff on it and make it bigger than it needs to be. I like the fact, you know, there's no wasted space on here. So it goes up to okay, let's talk sizes.
Yeah. 25, 49 and 60.
Trousers. No, I was going to get my trousers off.
That would be 25 then.
Yeah. All right, Andy. Love it. 25, 49, 61.
Yeah.
Great. 61, is there... Are we talking picture mod wheel by the side?
Everything's the same.
All the same format.
The 25 has mini pads, but the layout is identical. You have your transport control.
What about this pad heritage? Because I know, if you're like me, I get a bit excited by AKAI, thinking about MPCs.
Yeah. Again, they've got the same bedded technology for the pads. So if you do want to create beats and stuff, you can.
Sturdy.
Yeah, completely.
There's no wobble there. You're gonna have no like forumistas. I'm trying to think of the name of people who are forum trolls who are mounting pennies underneath them or something weird. How much is it going to be? If you know, if you can say such a thing.
How much do you think?
Don't even go there. Don't even go there.
How much would you pay?
I want it to be free.
Now, how much would you pay for a product like this, knowing that you've been in the industry a long time?
Hey, long thanks.
Yeah.
Hence the hair. I mean, I personally, as a guy who does a lot of live stuff, I would be putting it up against the workstation keyboards in my mind, not other MIDI controllers, because there's no other MIDI controller that does it.
No. So we're
like
talking...
a Kronos, we're talking. Well, the big boy workstation is 3Gs.
Right. So we're talking.
I know it's not going to be that.
16 gig of sounds that come with it.
Yeah.
High res screen, RGB pads, full control.
I'm fiddling. I'm excited.
Yeah. Door integration.
Hit me.
389.
It's a great price.
Yeah, 389.
That is a great price.
Yeah.
61.
469, I do believe.
69.
Yep.
That is great. Okay, we've touched it a lot. I think we've touched on everything. Can I?
I think you've touched it so much.
I've touched it. Yeah, I get a bit clammy. Well, let's talk ins and outs. Succinct.
And
that's everything we need.
Fully USB powered as well. No PSU.
61 as well.
Yep. All.
The 61's going to be USB powered.
USB powered.
So you just need your laptop and a USB cable.
Laptop. And your VSTs.
I got no money, Andy. Literally got no money.
Yeah.
Okay, I like to end the videos.
And Andertons can do you some finance, by the way. So
0% finance.
Yeah, 0%. I'm sure they can do for
you're good.
over a 6-month period.
Yeah, I think it's 9 months. I think it's 9 months. If you want longer finance, they can go forever. You can get a mortgage on it if you want. 20p a month and some Tangfastics will get you it. Like, we haven't made any noises, really. Apart, we haven't done a lot of playing because it hasn't been about that. It's been about accessing all the sounds you want to get to.
Yeah.
But I do like to end. Normally, if I could hit a demo button.
Right.
Is there any way we can just set the colours off on a random?
There will be a Vegas mode.
Will there be a Vegas mode?
Yeah, there will be a Vegas mode, and you can imagine what that will be like. But I tell you what we can do.
Yeah.
Let's turn it off.
Yeah.
Dim the lights down, if we could.
Oh, hang on.
Right,
let's
down.
Go on, Tim.
This is all
hit your sexy button. This is great. I genuinely think anything can be achieved in life with the right lighting and music.
Yeah.
I think we could world peace. If everyone got together and just
Are we good to
sat
go?
down. Oh, we
Okay.
Ah, that's great.
There you go.
That's what I wanted. Loading up.
Yeah.
We can
VIP.
launching up.
Bang.
Thanks, Andy.
Anytime.
AKAI Advance,
Yeah.
Andertons Music, bargain. If you don't have the money, get the finance for it.
Yeah. So I get the finance.
Or just, I'm going to apply you with loads of money and food and try to get one for free. I came up with a genre
Yeah.
called Doorcore,
Right. Okay.
which is Dorset hardcore.
Right.
Basically, I dreamt of it being a lot of, cannon fire,
Yeah.
cutlass. If we were sword fighting.
Yeah.
We were alluding to that earlier when we were sizing things up. When we were sword fighting, I created a genre.
Right.
I think of that every time you say the word door.
Okay. Interesting.
Sorry.
That was very interesting, and I'm sure the viewers will be very
Well, it hasn't come out yet.
keen about
Someone
that.
needs to make it.
Yeah.
I thought Norwegian death reggae was my favourite genre.
I do apologise for that section. So, as we're talking about product, we'll move back to the product. So the last,
Mr. Mac.
So the last thing